Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology and welcome in to the Vinyl Nation. Now, when you think about home video, if you're a child of the 80s and 90s, as am I, you think Warner home video, kid stuff video, videotapes, right? And then eventually DVDs, and now we've got streaming. But what if you wanted to watch a home movie before the advent of the VCR in the late 70s? What would you do? Well, you would actually show a film. So if you remember last week, we took a look at my awesome new Argus movie projector, 8mm movie projector, and I said to you that I had a lead on a really good film collection at a good price. So good news is I have acquired said film collection. So let's take a look at it and see what films I got. And we'll also go ahead and fire up the projector and watch one of them. You're not going to want to miss this. Okay, so I thought we would start by looking at the films I picked up. It's a pretty good starter collection. I got 10 films and all sorts of genres and types and representation of various years and eras of film. So I'm super excited about this. However, I ran into a bit of a snag. But let's go ahead and check out the movies that I got, and then we'll thread one up and watch a little bit of it. So the first one I have here is United Artists Picture. This is A Man Called Bogart, which, if it's got Bogart on it, why would you not go for that? You know what I mean? Most of these are in these little cardboard boxes. 8mm is obviously half the size of 16mm. This, as you can see, is 1967. 8mm film, as we'll look at it here in a minute, has sprockets on one side of the strip. Here is Little Rascals, The Chain Gang, Super 8, 8mm movies, Little Rascals, Chain Gang 532. And did I show you the back of this one? Okay, so yeah, this one's Ken Films. And look at that, 42.5 meters. Send for your free catalog. Look at the art on the back. It kind of reminds me of when you'd have like a little golden book as a kid and you would look at the back and see all the different titles that you can get. There's Mr. Magoo up there, Mighty Mouse, Popeye, 10 Commandments, Dracula. This is also a Ken Films release. About the prices. $7 up there, $10 here. Some of them were $5, $6. So I was able to negotiate a little bit of a discount. So yeah, same image on the back there. Super cool. We'll obviously look inside these here in a minute. Completely different one here. 8mm Laurel and Hardy movies, Black Hawk Films. That's a pretty common brand that I've seen when I was doing my research. This is from soup to nuts. You'll notice the box is double the thickness of the other boxes. And we'll look at that in a minute and find out why. 8mm. And this one is licensed from Hal Roach Studios. It's exciting. I want to stay with these for right now. Here is William Holden, The Bridges of Tokyo Re. Paramount Pictures. Another Ken Films title. This one was cool. When I first picked it up, I thought it was Santa and the Elves, but then I realized it was the Happy Cobblers. Kind of reminds me of how much of what we know is like Santa Claus and the elves and the workshop really kind of is rooted in this sort of culture and, you know, this lost art of shoe cobbling. Cobbling? Is that a word? Terry Toons. I really wanted to get some cartoons, so I was super excited to find this. Terry Toons, a division of CBS Films, plus, it says full-length cartoon plus preview attractions. All of these titles have a number. This is kind of a cool offer on the back. You can send away for a free film offer. I wonder what happened if you were to mail to that address today. Probably not very much. Who knows what it is. Okay, so the next films are very similar to each other. In fact, I'm just going to show them all together. They are News Parade of the Year. I've got 1945, 46, 47, 48, and 50. I'm just missing 59. And these are by Castle Films. Now, Castle Films was very prolific. The guy's name was Castle, and he was like a a newsreel camera guy. And he, spun up this amazing empire of, home movies. He was a very big pioneer in this whole industry of home movies. So News Parade of the Year, I believe these were like, at the end of the year, it would be like news highlights of everything that happened in that year. By the way, I remember on some VHS tapes as a kid seeing Castle. I'm pretty sure I saw like Castle Entertainment or something like that. But in the back here again, the packaging, like the other ones we looked at, is somewhat generic. So the back just sort of has, all sorts of advertisement information about other titles you can get. They offer titles on 16 millimeter. And, you really had to be something. This is the standout, obviously. It's a little bit different, but it's the same basic idea. I think this was the new style. Yeah, this is 1950. So by this time, they went to this style. So yeah, it's a pretty decent starter collection, I think. So I'm starting with 10 films, 10 movies. And these are really cool. I mean, what's the difference? First of all, what do you think the difference is? Why would you want 16 millimeter over 8? Well, obviously with 16, it's twice the size, and you get yourself a sharper picture quality. That's because the silver halides that form the grain structure of film, the more film real estate you have, the smaller the density is, if that makes any sense. It's sort of like pixel density, I guess. But yeah, so a better, smoother, less grainy, more detailed resolution, the larger the film stock. Obviously, you go up to 35, super scope and all kinds of cinema scope, all that stuff. And, we talked a little bit about motion picture film, the larger ones, up to 70 millimeter last week. I forgot to bring onto the show last week, by the way. I've got a couple stills. I got a 70 millimeter film frame from Star Wars: A New Hope, and I've got another one from Titanic, which is really cool. So, some of you are already saying to yourself, screaming into your phone, "You messed up! You made a mistake!" And I'm wondering if you guys can guess my error. Those of you that don't immediately know. Let's take a look at the film itself. It'd be great if I could do this in focus. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, I use my hand here to help the camera focus. So like I said, it's literally 8 millimeters. And the sprocket holes are as such on one side. They should face towards you, by the way, when you're threading it in. 16 millimeter film would just be double that. In fact, from what I understand, there's certain cameras that could actually expose two 8 millimeter strips by, kind of like audio tape, where you'd record on one side, flip it over and expose the other side, and then cut it down the middle and turn one 16 millimeter film strip into two 8 millimeter strips. All right, so what am I hinting at? What is the problem? Well, you saw on a few titles here that it says Super 8, and I did not pick up on this when I was buying these films. Turns out Super 8 and 8 millimeter are two different formats. And the reason why they are two different formats is that they decided in the early 60s to improve upon this by maximizing some of the resolution, some of the picture quality, and the real estate. So basically, what the difference is, and here is a Super 8 film. And you're going to say, wait a minute, it's the exact same. You got the holes on the bottom, but the holes are smaller. So there's more real estate for the film. The sprocket holes are a different shape and they are smaller. So if we compare and contrast here, so Super 8 on the left, Standard 8 on the right, you can see the difference. So the larger sprocket holes, Standard 8 millimeter, and on the left, Super 8, smaller sprocket holes. And see how the dark part, the actual exposure, the image is going to be bigger, pretty significantly bigger on Super 8. Now that poses a bit of a problem because my projector, being from 1959, predates Super 8 film as a format. Therefore, it's not compatible. So I have 3 of these 10 films that I cannot play on this unit. You can't force it in. That would be bad. Now there actually were some projectors that would be like dual 8. They could do both formats. But I've heard they're pretty rough on films because of the sprocket hole differences and whatnot. At least some of them are. So you got to be a little careful. Does that look familiar, by the way? Some of the tape that we have played with has been spooled onto these 8 millimeter film reels because it's the same size as 1/4-inch tape, which is kind of an interesting. Hey, look at this box. It's got a little inset. I just noticed that. That's kind of cool. So yeah, so these three, let's see which ones. So the Bogart one, unfortunately, and the Chain Gang and the Bridges of Tokyo. Ooh, that's cool. Are Super 8. So that's not necessarily a bad thing because I am in the process of possibly reviewing something. I don't want to keep some mystery in it. It's something that will allow us to enjoy those films as well. We'll have to see. So far I did watch about half of this last night. It was really, really cool. But what I'm interested, oh yeah, by the way, I did promise, what's the deal with this? Well, it's simply 2 reels in one. So instead of the one spool, there's 2. Great bit of advertising in here. As you can see there, Standard 8 or Super 8, 2 different formats that you could get your Black Hawk films in. So this will be probably the complete short. So I thought it would be cool to take one of these Castle films and check it out. I tried opening one of these the other day. Let's just pick a random year. Let's pick 48? That works for me. So we're going to pick 1948. I tried opening one of these a couple days ago, and the reel, I'm in tape mode still. The spool was like fused in there so tight. This one's coming out, so that's good. Look at that metal. It's before they were doing the plastic. And because Super 8 didn't come out till the early 60s, this is still the original 8mm home market. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the projector going, and we'll thread this bad boy up and give it a watch. Almost said a listen. We're going to give it a watch. Okay, so here is the lid, and in here is going to be our take-up, our take-up spool, and also our threading instructions, which is awesome that they included there. So the supply reel will be up here, and then the take-up reel will be in the back. So literally, this is ultra simple. You rotate this arm forward. We're going to put the movie on that we're watching, which will be this guy. It just pops right on. And we're going to put this reel back here, and then we need to thread it, and that's as simple as it can be. So let me go and get it started, and we'll thread it. Okay, it's as easy as that. We've got the film on there. There's like these pressure pins, and the thing just snaps right on there, easy as pie. So we've got some length to work with here, and we're literally just going to thread it through this area and back around onto here. It's very similar to working with tape. You know, you sort of stick the leader in there and then spin it up. Obviously, you're going to do it in the right spot there. But let's take a closer look at the threading area. Now, continuing on with the theme of this show, where I am an enthusiast and not an expert, there's a few things I'm not sure about. One, what this knob, if anything, goes to, because it's been loose in here since I got it. Number 2, why this knob pulls out and says rewind. It seems to be in a locked position, like you can't rotate it, and I don't see how that would help you rewind, because you literally just flip the switch down here to put it into reverse mode. Perhaps, okay, now I'm thinking if I pull that out, disengaging the sprockets, when I put it into rewind, it'll go faster, because that was another question I had. Why? Because before I had to rewind it in regular speed. So, all right, let's go ahead and thread it. It's pretty simple. We're going to go up and over this. We're going to pull back the pressure plate here. And I mean, the film just sort of falls into place where it needs to be, from my experience. Okay. It's always good to leave a little bit of slack, like up there. And it's going to come around here. All right. I'll probably get better at this the more I do it. It took me a couple of attempts to get it right. But yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. So it's there's 2 switches, one for the motor, one for the lamp down there. And then we've got forward, still, and reverse mode. It's sort of a kind of like a gear shift on a car where it kind of goes down, over, and up. So we're going to put it into forward mode. Maybe. Okay. Forward mode, and we're going to flip the motor on. And it's doing its thing. It's got that familiar sound, and even more striking, it's got that familiar smell. It's a fantastic, smells, if you're anything like me, take you back in time like nothing else. And the smell of this projector takes me straight back to grade school. All right, and then the next thing we need to do obviously is turn the lamp on. And this has what I believe to be an original lamp that is still functioning. We just need something to project it on. The throw of this lamp, I've noticed, is very, how do I say this? You can be 4 or 5 feet from the screen and it's still a pretty small image. So you have to have it quite a ways back to get the image very big. You know, like 4 or 5 feet will only give you like a 9-inch screen surface, if that makes any sense. So we've got our movie loaded up. Let's go ahead and watch a little bit of it. Now, one thing I have noticed when filming this is that the image you're seeing on camera is more flickery and flashy than it is in real life. Also, the color tone of what I'm seeing is more of a sepia tone versus the pure black and white. So the iPhone is doing some sort of color correction. But this is fantastic. It's extremely watchable. I think it's great. It's so historic. It's so interesting. You got the Castle Films logo down there. Now the lens on the projector has an outer ring where I can adjust it like this to get the best focus. And that's about as sharp as I seem to be able to get it right now. I'm about 5 or 6 feet from this surface, which is the back of a door. And you can see the texture of the wood door there. And the image is approximately, I'd say that's maybe 19 inches. But look at this guy. Isn't this cool? Isn't this awesome? To me, it's very similar to how excited I felt about vinyl when I got back into it. You know, the mystery and discovery of what are you seeing? You know, what's on camera, what is on screen. Absolutely, absolutely fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoy this. With all that film, I've got plenty of stuff to show you. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of this. But I think that's all we have time for today, unfortunately, because this stuff is just awesome. A couple more seconds. Let's watch a little bit more here. So awesome. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this show. It was a lot of fun to put together. And again, I'm just starting out on this film journey. I've got a lot to learn, but I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm going to need you guys to give me all the advice that I can get, because I'm going to need as much as I can get. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thumbs up if you wouldn't mind, please. Thank you so very, very much for watching and supporting the Record-ology Vinyl Nation. And because you guys are on the inner circle, the inner trust circle, I'm going to tell you what we're doing for the show this weekend. You're not going to want to miss. We are actually reviewing, it's actually on the floor behind me to the left, I think, to the right. We are reviewing the Crosley all-new T150 turntable system. It's got built-in speakers, and it looks pretty promising. I'm pretty excited about that. So thankfully, we've got some more record player reviews coming in the near future. So it was a very dry spell because of the supply chain issues to not have any of those, and now we've got a few, so I'm very thankful for that. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Happy record hunting. We'll see you this weekend.